Hello and welcome to the Stand for Nature Wales project update. Stand for Nature Wales is a youth-led community climate action project happening across the wildlife trusts in Wales. Funded by the National Lottery's Climate Action Fund, Stand for Nature Wales launched earlier this year, and we have collated a whole array of updates from staff and young people from across the different Welsh wildlife trusts to share the progress that has been made during the first year of this exciting project. My name is Charlotte Keane. I'm a project officer working for North Wales Wildlife Trust, and our geographical focus for the project in North Wales is on Anglesey. Our update comes to you from several of our young people who are on our youth forum, which is called Morn Gwyrdd, which is Welsh for Green Anglesey. We've done loads with these passionate young people since we began back in April of this year. And hopefully the following updates will highlight the inspirational efforts of our young environmentalists.
During the coronavirus pandemic, our fellow young people of the Morn Gwyrdd Youth Forum ran a series of online events to engage the public during lockdown so that it can engage with the natural world and heal a little bit from the pandemic. Following the success of our previous insect apocalypse debate with other young people talking about a complex issue to make it simple for the public to understand, we decided to run a series of online debates around contentious subjects which we were explaining to the general public. The first one was about the financial responsibility of climate change and who it lies to. We also spoke to experts such as Dr. Alice Cameron from Bank University to help us unpack some complex issues and communicate them effectively. Our second online debate, we talked about rewilding and why it's such a contentious issue in multiple communities, especially in Wales. For this one, we had Dr. Craig Shuttleworth from the Red Squirrel Trust, who focuses on reintroducing pine marten predators to control grey squirrels, which is a very local issue to Anglesey. This was an amazing debate as we were able to communicate through multiple aspects of farming and society on what wilding could look like in the future of Wales. Prior to COP26 this year, our young people decided to create an online guide to talk about what COP26 is and how it's relevant to young people and the voters today. Most of us didn't know what COP26 was, so we all researched it and then created an online event to communicate on our level what this means for the planet and our voters.
During COP26, to engage the public in a fun way, we launched the Great Climate Crisis Bake Off, where members of the forum baked multiple goodies inspired by the crisis and possible solutions. Some of the bakes included iceberg cupcakes, hot planet buns, protesting polar bears, and even beaver solution to flooding, tooth cake. Inspired by our bakes, members of the public sent in their entries, and you can see that on our Facebook page.
Stand for Nature Wales, we, the local action forum from Anglesey, ran a climate change pop-up event across North Wales for the summer. To start off with, we had several meetings about what we wanted these events to be and how we wanted to address the public. We also had training about climate change so we understood it better as a whole.
We decided we wanted to push a more positive message so that people would be more motivated to make changes in our lives. We decided to push this message through the use of a few boards that we created from recycled cardboard. These included visualisations of the greenhouse effect, an interactive board about the effects of climate change, and a solutions board to provide people with more ideas. Through this, we hope to engage more communities.
We had these events at Anglesey, Seasoo and Breakwater Country Park. We also had one pop-up event on Sean Nannigan's at Outdoor Alternative. So we wanted to discuss the impacts of climate change, but we wanted to motivate people to take action in their daily lives. So we came up with a list of sustainable things that people could do at home. These are
planting wildflower seeds in your garden, which we distributed at our event, making your own vegetable garden to produce your own goods, using your local refill centre if you have one available, and creating a source of water in your garden from old plant pots or washing up bowls.
There is also writing to your local MP, going to your supermarkets and stores to find sustainable items, or just shopping locally. We can also be more sustainable by reducing plastic in our daily lives, and also can reduce our carbon footprint by simply deleting old emails. We met several different people, not just from North Wales, but across the UK.
This included people of all ages, and we think that everyone left with at least one new idea of something that they could do to be more sustainable.
From this, we as a forum really want to do this again next year.
So the Druid Stones is a site over in Anglesey near the Menai, where we cut down brambles and overgrown trees to keep the grassland open, and also scatter wildflower seeds to create a wildflower meadow. We also dump the waste material from the cuttings into a sort of dead hedge, where it provides habitat as it decomposes for insects and other wildlife. We also cut down ash, regrettably, because of ash dieback.
One of the updates we have from this year is the Seagrass Weekender, which is a collaboration between Project Seagrass and the Living Seas project at the North Wales Wildlife Trust. The goal of this weekend was to gain experience doing practical marine conservation by restoring a seagrass meadow at Port Dynllaen. Seagrass is an essential habitat that sequesters carbon in the atmosphere. It's also an incredibly important habitat for biodiversity, and because of this habitat is a brilliant focus for our project Stand for Nature Wales, as it will help us in our battle against the climate and ecological crisis. We first harvested the seagrass seeds by snorkeling. We then packaged them on land, and then we went out snorkeling again to replant them in a different location. Over the weekend we also did some extracurricular snorkeling, which meant that we could observe the local animal and plant life that benefited from the seagrass habitat, which did give us a better understanding. We had a chance to engage with the public on the beach, asking them how much they knew about seagrass to try and understand the general knowledge level of the public on this issue, which turned out to be quite low. We did try to educate them, which hopefully they benefited from. On the last day, we went to the Sea Zoo to learn about their local seahorse breeding programme, and we also learnt the importance of using charismatic and recognisable animals to benefit conservation. Seahorses do rely on seagrass, which means that by protecting seahorses, you're also protecting seagrass habitats, which is brilliant. We also learnt about stakeholders, which are the other people involved and are also linked to the habitat. We learnt the importance of their role and involvement in conservation, and how essential communication is to understand their struggles and their experiences. And hopefully their involvement will ensure better conservation practices. It will take time to see if our seagrass seeds will take to the area that we planted them, but we're looking forward to the next Seagrass Weekender, where we'll hopefully get some updates and have a chance to restore another part of that meadow. In the future, we're hoping that the project will spread to other areas of North Wales, or other parts of the UK will take up similar projects to overall restore this really important habitat.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Owen.
I'm Sarah.
And this is our school's carbon negative no dig garden, where we've built raised beds.
They are no dig raised beds, and we have cardboard on top of them to allow for the soil to have carbon and nutrients that it needs for plant growth next year.
And the raised beds aren't all we're doing. So we're going to be planting a hedgerow round behind the camera, there. We're going to be putting fruit trees around, and then to my right we have a polytunnel which we'll be using to plant fruit and vegetables.
We do this because we want to inspire people of Anglesey to make their own carbon negative gardens and to eat healthily.
We'll be working with the community next year to bring this garden to the level that we want it to be.
If you want any more information regarding this, Charlotte will provide information about our social media at the end of the video. Bod hyn dim adol arbennig rwan oherwydd mae o'n gaeaf, mae hyn yn ddol blodau'n gwych.
Flwyddyn nesaf, mae ardal yma yn mynd I bod yn llawn o blodau gwyllt a pryfaid.
Okay, so I was on the traineeship over the summer, which was 2 weeks of learning about the environment, about woodland management. We did bushcraft skills, we did learning about carbon sequestration and how to mitigate climate change, all that good stuff. And this was all in Llyn Pac Mawr in Newborough, so big forest, which was great. And we also did a couple of day trips, so we learned about blue carbon and marine bioblitz surveys at Porton Llain with the seagrass beds there, so we went snorkeling, that was great. And then we did a day in Corsgoch as well to look at wetland management and peat formation, which was really cool. Yeah, it was great, and it was a good intro into the youth forum, and I'm quite excited to do more volunteering with the Wildlife Trust and with Llyn Pac Mawr as well, because they're just down the road from me.
A huge thank you to all of the young people who have been involved from our North Wales Wildlife Trust Stand for Nature Wales project, providing us with those incredible, really insightful and inspiring updates on what we've been up to on the project since we began in April of this year. If you are from Anglesey and are interested in finding out more about what we are up to on the project, connecting with us, perhaps you are a community member and want to get in touch with us, you can visit North Wales Wildlife Trust website, look for the Stand for Nature Wales project page and get in touch with us from there. We're now going to move on to find out what the other trusts across Wales have been doing as part of the Stand for Nature Wales project. So on to the other trusts to tell us what they've been up to.
We're the Living Seas Youth Forum.
The Wildlife Trust of South and West Wales Living Seas team, based at the Cardigan Bay Marine Wildlife Centre, are working with young people in coastal Ceredigion to protect our seas, take climate action and inspire the local community to make a difference.
Our Living Seas Youth Forum was established in May 2021, and since then forum members have featured on an episode of ITV's Coast and Country, where we conducted a beach clean and boat survey with the film crew. The young people also discussed the issues of marine litter and the importance of taking climate action with Ruth and the team. We also worked with drama teacher Jane Blank to create a drama bomb performance to highlight the impacts of climate change in our oceans and what climate action people can take to help make a difference. At a recent Rural Futures event, forum members spent time discussing their concerns surrounding climate change with Ben Lake, MP for Ceredigion. So what are our plans for the future? In the coming months, the forum members will be producing a mini documentary, getting creative for an art exhibition at the Cardigan Bay Marine Wildlife Centre, taking the drama bomb to local beaches and much more.
If you're aged 9 to 24, live in coastal Ceredigion and are interested in becoming involved, then get in touch.
Okay, hi, my name's Kathy. I work for Went Wildlife Trust down in South Wales, and I'm the Youth Engagement Officer for the Stand for Nature Wales project down there, and we'd like to give you a little bit of an update about what we've been getting up to. And here I've also got Michael Rogers, who is a volunteer for us. Hi. And he has been volunteering for Gwent Wildlife Trust since he was about 11. He was part of our youth group right way back in the day. He was brave enough to join us and has been helpful ever since. He's a fantastic wildlife photographer and a really good ambassador for climate change. So we could not leave him out of this project. We had to involve him, and now he's stuck. But he's going to help me today to present what we've been up to this year so far, since October last year, so a year on. So it's been a steep learning curve for us because we were starting from a base of actually educating children from all primary age children. So a lot of nursery groups, a lot of families. Now we've switched over to this 9+ groups and it's all about climate change rather than just about wildlife. So we've had to do lots of courses and information. We've been upskilling our volunteers in understanding and sharing and finding new volunteers as well. We've been defining our objectives. We've been working out what's already out there and what we can use that is useful. We've been establishing and working relationships with new partners and old partners like Natural Resources Wales and Monmouthshire County Council, Newport City Council, Greening Maindy, and this lady here who's in the photograph who is from Bug Life, who's been doing some courses for us. So we've been finding new groups of young people as well, youth clubs, youth councils, kids clubs, scouts, guides, and we've been trying to find lots of new places that we could improve for climate change and nature-based solutions, which involves a lot of sort of negotiation with people, as you know. We've also been watching how you do it and been inspired by you and been watching your videos and your debates and things like that. So that's been helping us. And we've been writing resources and presentations based on our knowledge that we've been gaining. So I'm going to hand over to Michael now to tell you a little bit about how we've actually been connecting with young people on the ground and what's been happening since last October. Over to you.
Hi, so yes, we've been interacting with young people in a load of different ways. So we recently ran the Green Gurus quiz, which was a quiz for primary children in primary schools, where we visit them and they answer a series of questions about climate change, nature solutions, and wildlife conservation. We had the Wildlife Warriors youth group, which is how I first got involved with the Wildlife Trust, which was a range of different ages where we'd go out, have fun, learn about nature. We've done home education groups. We've also set up the Valleys Climate Action Group for children in the valleys to get them out learning more about nature-based solutions and just enjoying being outside. We've attended numerous festivals and fairs, and we've done kids clubs during school holidays and on weekends. And we also did a Duke of Edinburgh week with Girl Guiding in Gwent. So throughout all our interactions with young people, they've achieved some really amazing things. So 30 children in 5 schools carried out biodiversity surveys of schoolline to get baseline data. And as part of the Green Gurus quiz, we actually visited the schools, taught the kids, helped show them how to identify different wildlife, set plans in place, and we'll be going back next year to see how they're getting on. 8 young people attended a pollinator ID course. 12 young people have constructed bug homes, and 8 have also built butterfly homes for their own gardens. 100 young people have made apple bird feeders, and 15 young people have produced videos about nature-based solutions and conservation. We've also had over 120 children discover Maker Marsh and find out about water cycles, water pollution, and how to build a pond in a washing up bowl. We've also taken part in constructing an otter haunt on the outskirts of Newport on the River Ebble. And 5 people have also constructed a rain garden in Maindy in the centre of Newport as well.
And we've noticed, haven't we, Michael, rather like yourself, that they all love taking photographs too. So we've been gathering their photographs on what we call a Padlet. I don't know if you've used it before, but it's a great idea. And they log into that, they add their own photographs of what they've been up to at home and with the Wildlife Warriors and things, and then they can all see if they miss a meeting or anything, they can see what we've been up to. So as you can see, we have been meeting face to face, and they have been taking lots of lovely photos of wildlife, which is brilliant. So our aim at the end is to get some really happy people, happy young people, understanding climate change and slowly building a team of young ambassadors to be advocates. We're not quite there yet. We're going to get our group to become advocates and activists and start meeting MPs and things like as you do up in North Wales. So thank you for showing us the way, and we hope we've given you some ideas too. Thanks very much from Michael and from me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Dan Hodgkiss. I am the Climate Solutions Officer for Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust. I'm currently on the Stand for Nature Wales project, which is amazingly a project teaming up with all the wildlife trusts of Wales. You see below. And we're empowering young people to do their bit for climate change and nature. That side of things. So what are we currently doing? So as a wildlife trust, we have nature reserves that have been trapping and storing carbon from our atmosphere for decades, whether that's in the soil in our unploughed meadows, in our restored peatlands, our woodlands, hedgerows, or even our salt marshes. However, we can always do better. Oops. So what else should we be doing? Well, we've timed this project pretty well, given that the recent construction of the Dyfi Wildlife Centre in Carsdyfi runs on a mixture of energy from solar and ground source heat pumps. However, this project is about empowering people on an individual level to take actions that can support wildlife and climate. So what's climate change got to do with wildlife? As a charity which looks to preserve local wildlife, a warming world is a pressing concern for how we manage our lands for the future. Extreme weather events and milder winters are already having devastating impacts on our wild insect and bird populations, causing mistimed emergencies and migrations, which are seriously depleting the number of individuals available to reproduce. So starving hedgehogs, hungry chicks without caterpillars, and butterflies caught by frost are just a few examples of small disasters that add up to a big problem. The other thing we have is a bit of a northward march and a vertical march of species from southern parts of the UK marching further north, and things that used to be found in the bottom of mountains working their way gradually upwards. So for those specialists who like it cold, they're being squeezed into smaller and smaller spaces, leading to increased competition, and where there's not enough room, local extinctions. So this is all good fodder for how we can support wildlife. So what have we done so far? A tough obstacle we have with conservation land management is timing. So much of the most impactful work needs to be done in wet, dark, grotty times of the year, like now, when no birds are nesting and newts and hibernating creatures are safely tucked away. So pond management, scrub management, and coppicing all have huge impacts for wildlife and carbon storage, but we're only just starting to take advantage of them. So far, we have created a big new pond at the Game Change project, a site near Newtown, which is a charity which takes in teenagers from troubled backgrounds and gets them outside. So this year, our pond had a duck nest on its island, and we're hoping for frog spawn in the spring. We've also increased wildlife habitat for insects by creating a bug hotel, which we add to with each group. So we manage groups, we have them sort of 8 kids, and we'll have them for 6 weeks at a time on a rolling basis. Birds have done pretty well too. So they made bee hotels, these log ones here, and some bird boxes. And after a short time, we've had multiple broods of blue tits raised from them, and Kerry came along and hopefully did a little bit of a ringing demonstration as well. So in the warmer months, we've been surveying local wildlife, whether it's on land with our camera traps or bug nets, in the ponds, or even the local river, which there's a little stream goes through the middle. So aside from the stuff with the Game Change project, we've been working closely with local schools, initially working with a huge range of schools across Montgomeryshire. At this stage, our goal was to canvass the project far and wide and to help find new youth forum members and isolate a few schools which would serve as our focus for the project, given that there's 40 odd of them. So we had to sort of narrow things down a little bit. So today we deliver regular monthly seasonal activities to run on 3 primary schools that we're working on a high school to join their ranks too. Perhaps our most recycled bit of kit has been our Pimlimu model, which demonstrates the benefits of landscape restoration and on reducing flooding. Another tool in our arsenal is the Eco Assessment Survey, which gets the kids to assess their school critically for good wildlife management and other good green behaviour. This then forms the basis of everything we do at the school, looking for gaps that we can improve on. Over the summer, in partnership with Radnorshire Wildlife Trust, we ran several workshops trying to find various ways of spreading the message on climate change. So with activities ranging from graffiti, bird box building, filmmaking, storytelling, mask making, acting, print work, creative writing, and lots of games. There's something for everybody. We've also been attending events as and when they appear, so fairs and market stalls with potential new Youth Forum members. Their face doing the old dead stuff box routine usually goes down pretty well. And our Youth Forum is still building up, with our initial efforts focused on virtual meetups to keep everybody safe. We kicked off the face-to-face sessions with a weekend event at Coulsdully to see the ospreys. These days we run face-to-face sessions every couple of weeks after school at Seven Farm Pond Nature Reserve. And we also recently teamed up with Radnorshire and North Wales for a Youth Forum Big Wild Walk in the Havern Forest, where we explored a world of freaky fungi and heard crossbills in the branches overhead. So that was nice. And that's about where we are today.
Hello, I'm Meg. I work for the Wildlife Trust of South and West Wales, and for the past year I've been working on the Cardiff Stand for Nature project alongside Gwent with their Newport project. So as you might know from Gwent's update, we've been up to lots of things throughout the year, working with schools, working with Girl Guides, doing their Duke of Edinburgh week. We've also been working with Cardiff University on their Biodiversity Action Plan. So they're looking at trying to create connectivity between their campus grounds, and they've already found things like hedgehogs and insects using their campus grounds, and so they're trying to get more student involvement. So we're setting up a student monitoring group who'll help to survey the campus grounds, see what else is there, but also take forward their ideas and what they think the university should be focusing on through this plan. The students also joined us for the Cardiff COP26 Global Day of Action March, which was a great day. We made some climate message placards beforehand, and then we marched from Cardiff City Hall all the way to the Senedd in Cardiff Bay, with lots of speakers and lots of rallying cries along the way. The next thing we're going to do is work with Kaya Heritage Centre, where their Youth Curiosity Club has developed a bog garden design for the centre, where they've got a bit of a flooding problem, and hopefully this bog garden will reduce that flooding. We've also been developing our youth forum, and we've started to get some young people really interested in the forum, so we're hoping to have our first proper meeting coming up in the new year. So that's all for now. Hopefully we'll all have a great new year ahead of us.
Hi, my name is Sylvia and I work for Radnorshire Wildlife Trust as the Stand for Nature Wales Community Officer. And here are some updates of what we've been up to since the project has started. The Radnorshire Wildlife Trust team is made out of me and Chloe. We work together to coordinate our youth forum, organise events and engage with the local community and local schools. As part of this project, we are also collaborating with Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust on organising some of the events that we are delivering. Part of the project, we had to create a youth forum, and because of the rural character of Radnorshire, most of our young people are aged 9 to 13. We've got at least 8 members that are constantly coming to our meetings and taking part in our events, and they're some of the ones that have helped us with some of our events and participated actively in some of the things that we've been doing. Wild Ideas was a series of events that we organised in partnership with Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust across Powys, and through these events we wanted to give the chance to local young people to come and meet us, as well as having fun and be creative. During the event, the participants were separated in 3 groups, and we had 3 workshops happening at the same time. For the first event in Llandrindod, we had art, improvisation and filmmaking. The second event of the series took part at Gilfach Nature Reserve near Llanidloes, and the 3 workshops that we had prepared for our participants were creative writing, filmmaking and nature-based solutions. For the third event in the series, we went to Llyn Coed Dinas near Welshpool, where the young people that joined us for the day took part in storytelling and mask making workshops, as well as learning about nature-based solutions. For the last event in the series, we gave the chance to some of the local people and our Youth Forum members to take part in graffiti and tissue printing, as well as nest box making and creative writing. During the Great Big Green Week, our Youth Forum members helped us with organising an event in celebrating Action for Climate, and they came up with some of the challenges for the local communities. Some of these challenges were litter picking, doodling by answering some of the questions on a big board, as well as quizzes that they've created. Also, our Youth Forum members took part in a big wild walk, and as well as walking over 100 kilometres in a day, collectively we gave them the chance to meet some of the other Youth Forum members, like the ones from Montgomeryshire Wildlife Trust and North Wales. One of our upcoming events is Young Voices in Conservation, Where to Start, and we've got 2 very exciting speakers, Madison Bowden Parry and Ben Porter, and they're both going to deliver a short presentation on how they got into conservation, some of the obstacles and some of the successes they had. After they've done their talk, we're going to have a Q&A session where Maddie and Ben are going to be joined by a couple of other panelists, which are going to answer some of your questions, each having various backgrounds. And yes, if you're interested in joining us, please go on the Ranashire Wildlife Trust website, what's on section, and book a ticket. It's free, and you can send us any questions they have, and then we can ask them during the talk. If you have any other questions about the Ranashire Wildlife Trust Stand for Nature side of things, please get in touch either by emailing me at sylvia@rwtwales.org or emailing Chloe at rwtwales.org. Thank you.
So there we have it. Thank you to all of the wildlife trusts in Wales for your updates on your involvements in the Stand for Nature Wales project. Loads of really amazing, exciting things going on across the whole of Wales with this project. Do stay tuned for further updates on what we'll get up to as this project develops over the coming years. Thank you for watching. And do feel free to contact any of us across the trusts to find out more about our project. Thank you very much.